Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, I made a video talking about how I wasn't particularly excited about the 2.0 Rinascita update. I gave my 3 reasons. I felt it was too early for a tonal change-up, I felt that there wasn't sufficient payoff in the story for the Huanglong region, and PPTSD. Post-Penacony Traumatic Stress Disorder. By which I mean that I saw a lot of parallels in the story that was presented to us in the promotional material for this 2.0 Rinascita update. I was mainly worried that we're going to get bogged down in all the political stuff for the majority of the patch. And I made that video as a way that I could just kind of get those feelings out there and just move on and go into Rinascita with a blank slate. And this is what I said at the end of that video. I want to be proven completely fucking wrong. That is the one thing I want the most. So, did it?
Well, we're waiting.
Yeah. Not perfect by any means, but pretty damn good. Great even. With the sheer size of this update, it'll be difficult for me to summarize everything, so I'm going to go through it all bit by bit. Starting with story. The prologue as a whole was okay. The scene with the narwhal and Brant was good, but I gotta be honest, when we got to the island and there was that religious pilgrimage thing scene there, I started to get a little worried that that was what I should expect from the rest of the story. Luckily, it didn't last too long, and it did its job in setting up a good bit of foreshadowing for the plot points later on. And after this, I don't want to jump into spoilers for those who haven't played it yet, so I'll keep it short. The rest of the story kept my interest and was paced well. There was only one particular part that I felt was boring, which was ironic considering the location we were in. It was near the beginning of Act 3, not the very beginning, that was good, but just after we beat the boss and we went to the other location, I got the point of why we were there in the first place, but it just dragged on way too long. Going on a fetch quest for 3 items which we got very easily by talking to a few NPCs whose names I've already forgotten wasn't interesting. Also, there was a dance sequence in there which had a few quick time events which felt out of place and pretty forced. Okay, on that point, slight side tangent. I have 2 accounts, right? So I played one in Japanese and one in English. On my first playthrough of this dance sequence, I did my best to make sure I got every key correct. On my second playthrough though, I purposefully missed every quick time event just to see what happened. So, what happened? Absolutely nothing. The sequence played out perfectly as if I had hit every key. I don't know if this is a bug and Rover is supposed to mess up or something, but if this quick time event really does have no effect, then just don't give us one at all and let the cutscene play out. Okay, with that out of the way, the rest of the story, as I said, was pretty good. I especially love the reveal of a character we met earlier, and it made me think back to when and where we met them, and then I go, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. Well played, Kuro. Well played. The only other thing that stood out as odd was some of Frolova's lines in the final act. Something about a wildcat and a hedgehog or something. What the hell is she talking about? It really confused me, so I looked it up to see if I'd missed anything, and what I found was actually quite interesting. Apparently she's paraphrasing lines from Macbeth, and later on with a line from Romeo and Juliet, which was pretty cool. It was interesting to see Kuro reference those, but at the time it stood out as totally out of left field. But still, like I said, without getting into spoilers, the story was, overall, very good with just a couple of times where it stumbled. I haven't done any of the side stories yet, but that's just my opinion on the main story quest. A solid 9 out of 10 for me. So how about the actual world of Rinascita? This was something I was a little concerned about as well, but maybe not as much as other people thought. Out of the 8 areas, there were 2 that stood out as places that I wasn't particularly interested in, but the majority of what was shown looked really great to me. The one area in particular that I really didn't want to spend too much time in was the Nimbus Sanctum. Fucking sunshine and rainbows? Please, I don't need any of that My Little Pony shit in my game. Oh, hello. This area is pretty mid during the day, but it comes alive at night. The low-hanging fog atop the water, the lanterns, blue luminescent trees, and everything gave this place a fantastic haunting atmosphere, which I really like. And we're almost always there at night because that's the only time when you can see Lorelei, the Queen of the Night. Okay, so I've mentioned that Final Fantasy VIII is my favorite game of all time, right? It came out in 1999 when I was just about 10 years old and still thought girls had cooties, until I played Final Fantasy VIII and used Shiva for the first time. Holy fuck, she was my sexual awakening, and I do not care who knows it. Like, Quistis was hot, and she's why I love basically any secretary looking character, but Shiva was a whole nother thing entirely. Diamond dust? More like diamonds and burst! Anyway, what I mean to say is that Lorelei is hot, and I often make nightly visits. To farm echoes, of course. Moving on, like I said, I played in both EN and JP, and the whole cast of characters we met in Rinascita were absolutely fantastic. Everyone brought their A-game to the performances. Usually, if someone asked me which language they should play in, I usually say play in JP. But this update, however, I actually felt myself wanting to hear them more in English. Not because the JP VAs were bad or anything, not at all, but just because I really enjoyed the variety of different accents from each of the characters. English, Italian, and French, among others. It was great what these different accents brought to the characters to make them even more distinct. I even found myself wishing that they would go back and give Frolova a bit of a Russian accent. Frolova is a Russian name after all. If anything, I think the weakest link in all the VAs was the male Rover, but that's not a knock against him, he still did really great. But when everyone else is hitting a 10 out of 10 and you're only hitting a 9, it stands out. Next up, we have music. It was great. enough said. Next up, quality of life. Okay, seriously now. The music was great. The OST for Rinascita was really well composed, with each area having a distinct sound and vibe that suited it well. And just like the Shakespeare references in For Lover's Lines, I loved the Mozart references in Lorelei's battle theme, even if I didn't realize it was Mozart at the time. Shout out to Marco Meatball for that. If I was going to say anything, I'd say I would have liked a few more heavy-hitting bangers. You know, something along the lines of Narwhal, Hikari, stuff like that. But to repeat, the music was great and I enjoyed it. I just felt it was leaning a little too heavily on the orchestral side, and I would have liked a little bit of that variety in there. That's all. Okay, so how about the quality of life? There were a lot of quality of life upgrades in this patch, and I would not be able to go through all of them, so this is just a few shoutouts of the main ones that really felt particularly impactful for me. The first one, of course, goes to the new flight mechanic. We were all excited for this, and it didn't disappoint. Flying around the world felt incredible and brought a new dimension to this game that I haven't felt in others in a long time. One unexpected thing that I realized by this new mechanic is that before the 1.x update, if I wanted to go somewhere, I would rely mainly on the teleport nodes to go from place to place. But now with these new wings, I think, it's only a short flight away, I'll just do that. And while flying to my destination, I find other overworld things to do along the way. Chests, challenges, puzzles, etc. that I might have missed if I had just teleported. These wings make exploring this new map a whole lot more fun, to the point where I barely even use teleports anymore. Another thing I really appreciated was the shortcuts for Echo, Lock and Unlock. The less I have to use my mouse to navigate menus and systems, the better. Also, the new synthesis and conversion system is a godsend. Thank you! And for those of you out there saying HSR did it first, I don't give a fuck who copied who, as long as they copied the good stuff. There were obviously a lot more QOL that I could comment on, but I'll just leave it there for now. Now we come to my disappointments. One of which was the Area Mama's Echo. This is supposed to allow you to customize your music depending on the region, but when the effective radius is shorter than I can spit, it's pretty damn useless. They need to make this radius a lot bigger. Or even better, make it a portable Echo gadget so you can choose which songs you want to listen to when and where you want to. Sometimes I get asked, why don't you just put it on Spotify or something? To which I say, you do know that not everyone plays on PC, right? Can't really do that if you're out and about playing on mobile, neither can all these new PlayStation 5 players either. And even then, maybe I just want to listen to the game's soundtrack, and messing around tabbing in and out finding the right song every now and then is just plain annoying. My next disappointment is the biggest one, in that there has been nothing to address the severe scarcity of Echo experience in this game. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It doesn't matter if you do that +5 tune once method. It doesn't help at all if all you get is defense and HP because RNG feels like being an absolute bitch. We need this problem fixed as soon as possible. And just so we're all absolutely clear, I do the +5 tune once method. I almost always have done. I just did a +25 in the previous video for the B-roll. And even with doing this annoying ass method, I still have shit echoes and 0 XP. Either have RNG and infinite experience farmability, or have no RNG and scarcity. One or the other, but not both. Again, for the love of God, please do not copy the shit stuff from Genshin. Literally no one likes that. Okay, now with those out of the way, pleasant surprises. Okay, now I know I'm going to sound like an absolute grandpa right now, but I was really happy that the characters were designed pretty modestly. I don't need tits and ass in my face 24/7. I get enough of that at home when I fuck your mother. But seriously, I think the most goonery character we had was Zani, and she was the one that was most covered up. Kuro, more of this. And no, I don't mean more covered up. I just mean that I want them to make really well-designed characters instead of just relying on tits and ass to make money. Not only the designs, but the way that they were presented was very well done, and we didn't have an incessant amount of rover-glazing either. Characters were kind and cordial and treated us with respect, and that's literally all I wanted. And I think that's about it. For now anyway. Not a perfect update, but it was pretty damn good. I'm really enjoying flying around and exploring this new region to find out everything that it offers. I have a few ideas for what they could implement in future updates, but I think I'll save that for another video. So having said all this, I'm really glad that Kuro proved me wrong. That's literally what I was hoping for. And even more, I hope that Kuro continues this trend of fantastic updates. So guys, that's what I think. But what about you? Let me know down in the comment section below. And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. I'm working on a What Does Japan Think About Rinascita video right now, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. So until next time, I will see you in the next video. Peace.